Canada's critical mineral push reshaping northern communities. Canada is standing at the crossroads of a global economic shift, and at the heart of it all are critical minerals. Lithium, cobalt, nickel, and rare earth elements have gone from niche commodities to the lifeblood of the clean energy transition. Without them, there are no electric vehicle batteries, no wind turbines, and no solar panels. And now, the Canadian government is making its biggest push yet to secure its place as a critical mineral superpower. But as always, the big question is, at what cost? The race for critical minerals is heating up. China has dominated the sector for decades, controlling supply chains from mining to processing. The United States, Europe, and Japan are scrambling to catch up. Canada, sitting on vast mineral reserves, sees itself as a natural leader. Prime Minister Mark Carney has already placed critical minerals at the core of Canada's mega project agenda, calling it the passport to competitiveness in the new energy economy. The global demand numbers are honestly staggering. By the year 2035, demand for lithium alone is expected to increase sevenfold. Cobalt and nickel are projected to triple. That means whoever controls the supply will control the future of green technology. And well, Canada wants in. The federal government has identified over 30 advanced projects across the country, but most of them are in northern and remote regions. From Quebec's James Bay lithium deposits, to Ontario's Ring of Fire, to vast nickel reserves in Manitoba, and cobalt-rich regions of northern Saskatchewan, the Canadian Shield is being touted as the new Silicon Valley of mining. Billions of dollars are now flowing in, not only from Ottawa, but also from American automakers and battery giants who want secure, friendly supply chains that aren't dependent on China. On paper, it looks like a win-win jobs for northern communities, billions in revenue, and Canada stepping up as a global leader in the green transition. But you know, if you scratch the surface, things get complicated very fast. The majority of these mineral deposits lie on or near Indigenous lands. That means every new mine, road, and processing facility requires some level of consultation, partnership, or, in some cases, confrontation. Some First Nations see critical minerals as an opportunity. They argue that after decades of being left out of Canada's resource booms, this is a chance to shape projects from the ground up, secure royalties, and provide jobs for young people. Success stories like the Cree Nation of Quebec's involvement in lithium mining show that collaboration is possible. But others are, honestly, deeply skeptical. Environmental impacts, lack of long-term guarantees, and fears of repeating the mistakes of past resource rushes, where Indigenous voices were sidelined, loom large. The Ring of Fire, for example, has already seen years of stalled negotiations, lawsuits, and tensions between Ontario's government and local First Nations. So the central question is whether this will truly be a new model of partnership, or if it's just another cycle of extraction without equity. Critical minerals may be essential for clean energy, but honestly, the mining process itself is anything but clean. Tailings ponds, water contamination, deforestation, and habitat destruction all go hand in hand with large-scale mining. Critics argue that Canada risks creating what they call sacrifice zones in the north, just to fuel the urban south's appetite for electric vehicles. On the other hand, supporters counter that Canadian mining is held to some of the strictest environmental standards in the world. They argue that if the minerals aren't mined here, well, they'll just be mined in countries with weaker protections and even more severe consequences. The debate isn't about whether to mine, but about how to mine and how to balance short-term impacts with long-term gains. Here's where things get even more complicated. Building a critical mineral mine isn't cheap. Some projects require billions in investment, years of exploration, and complex supply chain agreements before they produce even a single ounce of material. The federal government has committed billions in subsidies and tax credits to jumpstart the sector. Critics argue this amounts to another corporate giveaway with uncertain returns. At the same time, Canada is competing with the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, which is, showering companies with incentives to build clean energy supply chains south of the border. For Canada to keep pace, Ottawa must walk a tightrope, offering enough incentives to attract investment without draining public coffers. If it works, Canada could establish itself as the go-to supplier of clean, ethical minerals. But if it fails, billions could be sunk into stranded assets. Interestingly, the critical mineral push isn't just an economic or environmental story. It's also reshaping how Canadians see the North. For decades, the narrative has been about pristine wilderness, tourism, and cultural preservation. Now, that identity risks being replaced with mining camps, haul roads, and industrial corridors. Some argue this could undermine tourism, which has long been a steady revenue source for northern communities. Others see the two coexisting, with careful planning and investments in eco-friendly tourism alongside mining. Either way, Canada's north is about to look very different. When Canadians hear mega projects, they often think of pipelines, nuclear reactors, or ports. But critical minerals might be the most transformative of them all. They touch on almost every national issue: economic competitiveness, climate goals, Indigenous rights, environmental stewardship, and Canada's relationship with global powers. The story is still being written, but one thing is clear: the critical mineral boom will reshape northern Canada for generations to come. Whether it will be remembered as a story of shared prosperity or short-sighted exploitation depends on the choices being made right now. Canada is betting big on critical minerals. The stakes are enormous: jobs, billions in revenue, climate leadership, and geopolitical influence. But so are the risks: environmental damage, strained relations with Indigenous communities, and uncertain economic returns. As Canada fast-tracks these projects, the question remains: are we truly building a sustainable future, or are we repeating the mistakes of the past under a new green label? Only time, and the decisions we make today, will tell.